The family of a murdered pregnant woman is pushing for a bond reform bill aimed at keeping violent criminals in jail.
Your world stops. You go numb. The pain is unimaginable.
ABC 13 reporter Charlie Edsity joining us now live to explain the details of Caitlynne's bill. Good morning, Charlie.
Good morning, Jeff. Well, the family of Caitlynne Guajardo is really hoping something positive can come out of the pain of her gruesome murder that happened back in 2019. And they just wrapped up a press conference here at Crime Stoppers in Midtown, and they announced Senate Bill 532, also known as Caitlynne's bill, which seeks to reform how felony bonds and PR bonds are issued by judges across the state. But first, let me give you some background on Caitlynne's story. She was a Pasadena mother. She had a small child and was also 4 months pregnant at the time of her murder back in August 2019. Now, Caitlynne, in the days before she was killed, she actually called the police on her own husband, Alex Guajardo, after he allegedly punched her and then killed her cat. He was then taken to jail only to get out on a personal recognizance bond, also known as a PR bond. Now, judges are the ones who can issue these types of bonds, and it basically lets a defendant out of custody without having to pay bail as long as they promise to show up for future court dates. And Alex was actually granted several of these PR bonds. Well, after Alex was released from custody a few days later is when he allegedly stabbed Caitlynne 20 times, killing her and her unborn child. Now, Caitlynne's murder is one of 90, according to Crime Stoppers, that were committed by people who were out of custody on bond. Take a listen.
I have now tracked 90 people who have been killed, murdered by defendants released on multiple felony bonds, PR bonds, bond forfeiture, who were out on bond, had motion to revoke bonds, and nothing was done.
All right, so let's first talk about some of the proposed changes for Caitlynne's bill. Now, it states that if a defendant already has a PR bond and then other felony counts on top of that, at that point, you cannot be issued another PR bond. And second, after 3 felony charges, the next minimum bond for a defendant is set at a minimum of $10,000. And so the mother of Caitlynne, she also spoke today during this press conference. She was incredibly emotional, talking about her daughter, remembering her in the days before she was murdered. Mom now says that it is her job for the rest of her life to continue to advocate for victims like Caitlynne, and the first step, she says, is getting this bill passed. And so just an incredibly emotional day here. But again, the hope is that something positive can come out of this woman's murder that happened back in 2019. We're live from Midtown. Charlie Edsity, ABC 13 Eyewitness News.